blast of the whistle of match referee James Child tonight. And as you can see, the lights now back up to full strength. Well, two sides who are rapidly approaching their points of no return. It's an equally desperate situation for Saints in many ways. 2 wins so far, but they need the tide to turn soon if they are to preserve their record as the only side to have competed in every playoff campaign since 1998. A massive 80 minutes coming up, and Matty Smith back in St Helens colours in the Super League for the first time. Last time he tangled with Warrington was in the grand final itself at Old Trafford, and he came away with, of course, the winner's ring. Smith gets us underway. This is a big, big game for both of these clubs. Kurt Gidley is underneath the kickoff. Mike Cooper will take the first drive in and will receive the first tackle from Luke Douglas and company. Here now is Chris Hill. He was deemed to be the Messiah last week, coming back to rescue the fortunes of Warrington. Now attention switches to fullback Stefan Ratchford. It's a fascinating game we've got in prospect here tonight.
Well, Chris Hill will certainly stiffen him up at the middle. The amount of times he puts his hand up to take the ball forward, and he leads from the front. I'm sure that Warrington will follow his example. But bringing Stefan Ratchford back into the side, it just frees other players up to perform and do their duties in the game.
Mike Cooper gets to within 8 metres or so on the final tackle. So here's the kick from Gidley, and it goes straight into the arms of Adam Swift on that far side of the field. Swift will return the compliment, gets as far as Darrell Clark, and finished off by Chris Hill. Theo Fage and Tommy Makinson. What a hit that Tommy Makinson put in last week in the match in Perpignan. One of the best hits, chasing a long kick downfield, and boy, it was worth switching the TV on alone.
It was a good shot, wasn't it? I think he thought that he was 18 stone, 6'4", doing a prop forwards job.
Brilliant chase, and I'm sure that Kieran Cunningham will be hoping for more of the same from Tommy Makinson here tonight. Tommy Lee on a charge down by Warrington. That's very much in their DNA. It sometimes comes off for them, but Theo Fage is the first to react. The ball went back a good distance too, and Fage was quick.
Seemed too slow though from Theo Fage. Took his time trying to get that kick away. And you could see that Warrington straight away, they pounced on that. Very dangerous Warrington when they charge kicks down.
Sometimes you can only get the best edge of sportsmen when they're pushed to the very edge. They're on the brink, and I think that's where Warrington sit, in my opinion, here tonight, Eddie, in this game. Their season rests on victory here tonight, and I think we're going to see that desperation, particularly from the start of this match.
I think you said yesterday, Phil, that you doubted if Warrington could make it to the grand final if they lose here tonight. That view, I have to tell you, has been poo-pooed by the coach, Tony Smith.
It has, and we'll get to see who's right at the end of, I suppose, September, October, but I don't think they'll even get to the playoffs if they don't win here. They'll have too much to do, and I think their confidence will be absolutely decimated if they leave here tonight.
This is Matty Russell now for the Warrington Wolves. Gidley was the dummy half. Decent work from Jack Hughes, but Alex Walmsley was alert to the threat. Looping pass and over the head of Chris Hill. He had to pick that out of the air like a soccer goalkeeper. He managed to hang on to it. Gets to within 10 metres of the halfway line. Ratchford finds Gidley, and here is Jack Hughes again. Gives it then to Rhys Evans.
Eddie, there could be a problem with Darrell Clark. The physio's already been on to him. He's told him he's okay, he's fine to continue, but just watch out for Darrell Clark.
High kick, good take though from Adam Swift. There is Clark, number 9, first or second in to effect the tackle.
He's a good player, isn't he, Adam Swift? So strong returning the ball, as is this man, Tommy Makinson. And they get the ball, they've got good footwork at the line to keep offering himself, and probably since his standout player this year has been Mark Percival. So dangerous on that left edge.
Here is Zeb Taylor, gets it away to John Wilkin. Wilkin then into centre field. And Luke Douglas will play the ball. This now is Matty Smith. This is going to be the important role for Matty Smith, the kicking game, and that's a belter.
Wonderful kick and chase. 5 St Helens players reacted to that and talked about the feel-good factor that Matty Smith would bring to this Saints side. You can see from the reaction of his teammates, they trust him, they believe in him, and they're going to follow him.
Stamping out of dummy half is Jack Johnson, full back last week, and a try off the wing in defeat at Salford. He was drafted in when Russell pulled out of that game. Westwood now will continue on, the evergreen Ben Westwood, to the 40-metre line. Clark to Kevin Brown. He's inside the 40-metre mark, but that went right down the middle. No chance of a 40-20. So Makinson will run this ball back. He gets as far as Rhys Evans. Good tackle from Evans.
It just seems like a game of chess at the minute. You want to get to your kick it down the field. On that occasion, Warrington just not placing it in the air. They were just happy enough to let it just roll along the ground, putting pressure on Makinson, let the defenders get up there.
No risk play, Terry, because Warrington bottom and St Helens third bottom after Wakefield's victory last night lifted them out of trouble.
And this is what you can't do when you're at the bottom of the table, giving those penalties away. Alex Walmsley, as I said at the start of this game, he was immense last week, made 165 metres. You've got to control those first few plays like Barry talked about in the studio before. If you lose the first 3 plays, tackle 4, 5 and 6 are so easy.
Well, Matty Smith dumps the ball into touch over on the far side. Second debut for St Helens. Been a long time coming. Farge did well, got that ball away. Here now is Ryan Morgan. He's found Jack Owens, who cuts inside a couple. He had support on his inside from Tommy Makinson. And that was Morgan at dummy half. Here is Louis McCarthy-Scars, but riskily holding the ball in one hand, getting the Saints to within 3, 4, 5 maybe metres away from the Warrington line. Lee to Wilkin, he pops it up to Douglas. Westwood saw the danger coming, got the tackle in. Tommy Lee and Smith, and through the fingertips and backwards into the arms of Mark Percival. Good work by Westwood. Tommy Lee again, Saints turning the screw with Farge on the bounce and through the legs. It finds Jack Owens. Jack Owens manages to get away from Toby King and gives it to Farge again. Here now is Wilkin. Wilkin left-footed into the in-goal area, and Matty Smith is hunting this. Stephen Ratchford's after it, but Ratchford is trapped in goal. It's a goal line dropout.
I've read comments recently about the St Helens players saying they've spoken about trying to search for their identity. What is it that this club's been famous for? Why and how have they been successful? And I think what we've just seen in that last 2 minutes of play here, with their ability to pass the ball, find men in better positions than them, and apply pressure to their opponents with some intensity, sums up really how they were successful for a decade, and maybe what they need to do again if they want to get back there.
The Warrington supporters, Stuart, felt that Ratchford had grounded that ball the other side of the goal line, but those pictures showed maybe not.
No, not at all. The momentum of the tackle when the St Helens players dived in made him have the ball on top of the goal line, which is actually part of the in-goal area. It's the right decision for the restart, the goal line dropout. So
Ratchford with the goal line dropout finds Farge on halfway. Here comes Alex Walmsley chewing up the ground.
He's a big body in it, all 6'6" of him. Runs hard and he's destructive when he runs like that.
Luke Douglas now, once again, close season signing from the Gold Coast Titans in Australia. Plays the ball to Tommy Lee, another close season arrival. Theo Farge in his second season with the Saints. And Diddley was alert to the danger there with Rhys Evans. Plays the ball, though, to Lee. They go down the short side. Zeb Tyre gets it away to Mark Percival. And Warrington again muscling up in defence. Hughes and Evans. Here is Lee once more. Now it's with Wilkin. Wilkin gets it back to Smith. Good ball to Louis McCarthy-Scars, but very well watched by Kevin Brown. Lee, Smith, little kick over the top, looking for Owens. The ball comes back. Oh, and Owens gets it, but the referee says that that is a knock-on.
Yeah, from Jack Owens when he goes up. Can't take that ball cleanly. It's putting Johnson under pressure.
Goes backwards.
The ball looks like it goes backwards there.
But I think his run forwards, hasn't he? And that's why it makes it look like it's gone backwards, but it actually travels forwards. Watch from the hands.
You've got to give some credit there to Warrington's defence, though. The line speed was very good. They were shooting out of the line. They were cutting down the likes of Matty Smith, John Wilkin, cutting down their thinking time.
St Warrington's hearts missed a beat here. Well, the ball appeared to go backwards, then bounced forward, but James Child saw it another way. So the score stays at 0-0, and we've had 8.5 minutes.
Well, St Helens have talked about starting games better. They've been pretty impressive for 8.5 minutes, Eddie. The Wolves haven't really had any chance to attack, although now they're just about creep over the halfway line.
Clark on halfway. Brown with a kick. Not the best, though. It's easy for Adam Swift. Swift will return this.
Good pick up from Swift. Dips down, gains 20 metres. Both wingers. Tommy Makinson's playing at fullback tonight, but Adam Swift, Tommy Makinson, as soon as they get the ball, they're trying to get up to full pace and bend the defensive line of their opponents.
Jack Owens thought he'd scored a try a few moments ago, picks himself up and plays the ball to Tommy Lee. He's keeping James Roby on the bench at the start tonight. And remember, James Roby coming off the bench in the year that he got the Man of Steel. He came off the bench many times and he made the biggest impact on the season in each and every sense of the word. High kick though here from Matty Smith, claimed by Ratchford. And good following up by Theo Farge. That's a penalty. Just had a second pull at the leg.
Stephen Ratchford, he's got his timing, hasn't he? Just 9 minutes into his comeback.
I'll tell you what,
still as brave as ever.
Kirk Gidley does well with the kick chase of Tommy Makinson. Two players collide, they're going in the same direction. It was just a little nudge.
Ratchford did well then. I mean, that's an Academy Award, isn't it?
Just going to say, Tommy Makinson looked like he might have got his second outing in the Big Hits top 5. Who'd have thought a winger in the top 5?
Well, he's playing full back tonight, and he has been all season, so you know it might well squeak into this week's
There's your
list.
answer. There's your answer. That's why he's in.
Because he's not playing on the wing anymore.
Yeah.
Gidley into centre field finds Chris Hill. Hill will take Warrington over halfway.
Hey, move, Tommy. Zip, yeah, hold.
And Darrell Clark waits at dummy half. Here now, Brown. Brown finds Ratchford, chiming into the line, which he does so effectively. Gets away from the first would-be challenge. Tommy Lee stood his ground. Darrell Clark again, taking on Lee, putting a hand in his chest, barging him off, but Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook was there. Ratchford again. Brown now, dinks it over the top to the in-goal area, just ran a little bit too quickly.
Just too much on that, but the kicking game from Kevin Brown, he mixes it up all the time, whether it's be high in the sky or whether it's a little tip over the top or kicks to the corner. He's got a lot of different kicks in his kit bag.
Adam Swift tries to come back on the right-hand side, goes down. Lee, Wilkin, Walmsley, big hit. Clark and Westwood in very quickly.
Yeah, all the experience from Westwood there, taking the meters off Alex Walmsley, but giving the penalty away. Again, your first contact's got to be high. Alex Walmsley's gained 2 penalties for his side. The way he carries the ball, the way he fights to get up, the spells that he's on the pitch, he's a big influence and so influential to his side. Everyone around him responds. The smaller fellas push up because he can ride tackles, he gets over them, he offloads the ball.
He's getting longer on the field this season than he did last season. They are getting an hour of power from the big man, and it's certainly making a difference.
Tommy Lee pointing the direction, coming right, and then he goes left into centre field and he finds Farge, drops the pass off to Walmsley. Good tackle low down by Clark, finished off by Hughes and Westwood combination. Lee is waiting at dummy half 20 metres away. Here now is Wilkin. Wilkin then to Smith. He drops the ball off to Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. LMS does a little quick run around, but it's a run around his own player, so it's a penalty to Warrington.
Yeah, obstruction, I think it was Joe Westerman who was impeded. And he comes back, he cuts back across the line there. You can see that Douglas is in the line. Joe Westerman can't get to him.
So penalty for Warrington, penalty for Saints, quickly followed by one for the Warrington Wolves. Only win against Warrington here, March 2015, when the Saints were reigning champions. They scored 5 tries to 4 in a 32-24 victory. Warrington have done a lot better here at this new ground than they have done, although they haven't done well here because Westwood has knocked the ball on. Just making the point, they didn't win a game in Super League at the old Knowsley Road, the old lady of Super League, but they've done a lot better here.
They're a good side, and you just look down the team sheet, Eddie. This Warrington side can cause problems. They need that field position. It seems that all the play in the opening 13 minutes has been down near Warrington's try line.
Terry, is it just purely and simply a question of confidence for Warrington? They get a win somewhere down the line and the confidence will grow.
Yeah. They just need that lift. Chris Hill's come back into the side. Stephen Ratchford's now come back into the side. As soon as they start clicking and start performing, like you'll see Warrington just propel up the table. They just need to get that first win. Everyone needs to perform. As soon as whether it be Kevin Brown, Stephen Ratchford, Mike Cooper, they've got enough internationals to lead by example, and those players are hurting, Eddie.
Leeds 10-0 up at Huddersfield. Huddersfield struggling again this season. Leeds look like they've regained their feet. What's coming up for Warrington in the road ahead? They're at home to Hull and then at home to Leeds in the next 2 weeks before they go to Widnes over Easter and then take on Huddersfield at home also over Easter.
Kevin, you're offside.
Smith gets the ball away. Oh, that was almost picked up by Johnson. Was unlucky for the youngster. Snaked the arm out, just couldn't take it before it bounced.
He had to stick the arm out. There's an overlap on the outside.
Great play, wasn't it, to even set up Ryan Morgan there with that pass. The pass to get to him with the deception of Makinson on the inside, and then Johnson just can't catch it. He takes that back on the full. They have possession as it is now. The back defending, and I think it's been a very impressive opening 15 minutes from both sides, actually. I haven't seen Warrington play this well in the last 3 games. They really are running like they mean it.
Just let me tell you what the road ahead for St Helens looks like. They have got Salford away next round. That's round 7. Here is Owens, and this now Mark Percival. That Salford game, by the way, you can see with us on Sky Sports. Huddersfield at home, Wigan away in the Good Friday derby, and Castleford at home on Easter Monday. So 2 very important programmes ahead for these 2 sides currently residing in the bottom 3 of the Betfred Super League. Now then, what can St Helens do here with this good field position? Good, quick hands from Percival, but a little bit too quick because Adam Swift had overrun him.
But I agree. I never thought I'd say this, Phil, but I agree with you. I think the shifts from St Helens, they look really impressive. Every successful side, every successful campaign, it's built on a foundation of hard work and doing the little things really, really well. If you ally that with a good attitude, and when things are going against you, Kieran Cunningham talked about it before the game. He said, I'm happy with the fight that my side have got. Even when things go wrong, I'm happy with the fight. And they look good, their early shifts are good. But you're right, Phil. A good gripping contest this so far.
Salford leading 6-0 at Widnes. Don't forget you can get all the highlights at full time on our website, skysports.com/rugby league. Just follow the links, you'll find all the highlights. So Leeds ahead and Salford ahead in 2 of the other games tonight. And here at St Helens, it's 0-0. And head and feed at this scrum to the Warrington Wolves. It is safety first, though, isn't it? That we haven't seen any flamboyance from either side yet.
Well, Saints are willing to shift it, whereas Warrington just seem to want to get to the kick, but it's where Warrington are playing the game, Eddie. You can't really be that flamboyant near your own try line when you're so tight defensively. The likes of Alex Worms, he can fly off the line. He's got a couple more seconds because the play the balls are slower. You're hitting in numbers. Look, 3 players holding Chris Hill up.
So he gets the ball away brilliantly there to Darryl Clark. And Clark gets away from Tommy Lee. It's a good job that the reinforcements were there in the shape of Luke Douglas. This now is Gidley again to Hughes.
Eddie, and isn't that what Chris Hill gives you? 3 players around him, manages to get his arm free and offload that pass.
Westerman now for Warrington. They know that they are the offload kings. They love to get the ball away. For Warrington, that ball has come free, and it's just simply a knock-on. Joe Westerman actually just surrendered the ball then, and there was no way in the world that James Child was going to give a ball steal. He just surrenders it. Watch. The hands are all over it, but then he just lets go.
Whether he was... I don't know. I think there was hands in there from Luke Douglas.
I think that was 6 and 2 threes, that one. Here's the offload from Chris Hill. They're playing for that. They're waiting for that. They're set up, particularly players like Darryl Clark and Stephen Rashford, when they can get on the end of players like that. But you're right, Tezzy. Territorially, this game has all been played with Warrington near their own try line.
Eddie, and that's the last 2 occasions that they've had the ball that they've not got to the kick. They've made mistakes.
Well, can St Helens capitalise on this? Jack Owens takes it forward on the first tackle. Tommy Lee is at dummy half. Here is Alex Wormsley. Running strongly, as he has done all season, Wormsley. Lee again, just over the halfway line, the Saints. Now with Wilkin. Here is Farge. Into the arms of Percival. Mark Percival. 4 tries in his last 3 games. Warrington know the danger that he will possess. Farge then shuttles it out to Zeb Taylor. And Taya gets the ball free before the tackle was completed. Wilkin, Smith to Makinson. Warrington moving up very quickly in defence. So Tommy Lee is waiting again as Makinson gets to his feet, plays the ball to him. And that looked a touch forward to Wilkin. But that was all right to Smith, and that was all equally better. Oh, he's given that one as a forward pass. He's given that one as a forward pass.
Well, there's a couple of decent offloads for Saints, wasn't it? The build up to this. As the Saints players are going to ground, Matty Smith again. He's got the confidence to throw that ball out to Adam Swift, who's hugging the touchline.
Look where the touch judge is, though. You have to back the touch judge. I agree. The one before that was marginal, maybe.
Well, you look at his hands when he passes the ball. The ball does come forward out of his hands. And as you say, touch judge Clint Sherrod's in the perfect position to judge that. You watch when the ball comes out, it comes out forwards.
And the fact that Matty Smith ended up ahead of the ball doesn't make any difference.
Nothing to do with it at all.
Because I always thought if we dropped you off a train in Dewsbury, you would probably land on the platform of Backley.
That's the ball.
You can jump backwards off a train, with a bit of luck, jump backwards and still end up further ahead than where you actually jump, can't you? Because of the speed with which the person's moving.
It's all physics. And I think, like Terry, I got an E in physics at school. I don't think Terry could even spell physics. He begins it with an F.
But again, warning signs, isn't that? Matty Smith been out for all those months since that pre-season friendly against Widnes, but he still manages to spot that gap, throw that ball.
Owen Hill again gets the offload away. Clark picks up the pieces. Ratchford now down the right-hand side. Finds Evans, but that was forward. That was more forward than the pass out wide from Matty Smith.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, Sherrod had a smile on his face this time.
Well,
there's an obstruction against Warrington. Obstruction.
Jack Hughes stood in the block, tried to block big Alex Walmsley from getting to the kicker. Alex Walmsley gets off the line, tries to put pressure on Kirk Gidley, knowing it's the last player, trying to close it down. And there's the Evans pass that goes forward, attracts and isolates Mark Percival, tries to get Matty Russell free on that wing.
Two desperate sides we're watching here tonight. Desperate not to make a mistake, not to concede the first try. And here comes James Roby. He might be the X factor off the bench.
Well, they'll be hoping so. You know, Warrington have done some things pretty well in the opening 20 minutes for me. But the two aspects that they haven't done well, the two things they've done are when they're kicking the ball at the end of the sets. We've seen Kevin Brown kick the ball over the dead ball line. There they've conceded a penalty on a kick. They're not quite managing to apply that finishing touch to all the hard work that's taking place.
Well, that's a loose pass.
And a knock on then by Darrell Clark.
Seb Taya only been at the club a matter of weeks. He's given the job of ramping that ball up. Luke Douglas is in the vicinity and decides he doesn't want anything to do with it. A mistake happens and Warrington, just about on halfway line, will possibly get the first attacking set of the game.
James Child doesn't want to be chatting all night to Chris Hill or anybody else about his decisions. Hardisfield have clawed 6 points back against Leeds. You probably saw that go through the bottom of your screen.
Well, Adam Walker on the par, that's a red alert now for Warrington. Likes to offload the ball. Saints get some decent quick ruck speed there. He's got good feet, hasn't he, Louis McCarthy, for a big fella.
Lee finds Smith. Smith to Farge. Farge then hurriedly finds Percival. And Percival cutting through the defence. Good job that Hill and Clark were there. They hold the St Helens centre 10 metres away. Here now is Louis McCarthy's guard, but Makinson over the top. He finds Jack Owens. Owens cuts inside, but Toby King is there with Brown.
It was a slow looping ball over the top to Jack Owens.
Last
the
tackle.
Pressure here.
Kick from Matty Smith. Goes high. Knocked down. Still the last. If Wilkin gets this out, they're in trouble. Well, he got the ball out, but Matty Russell was the grateful recipient.
Again, Eddie, it's great defence on the try line for Warrington. Tony Smith's men getting off the line. Kevin Brown, first of all, putting an awful lot of pressure on Saints. Saints offload the ball straight into Matty Russell's hand, and Mike Cooper on the last play. They're not sitting back, but they just need to get away from their try line. Keep defending near the line. Sooner or later, they're going to crack.
Jack Johnson. Huddersfield have turned that game around against the Leeds Rhinos. 12-10 now to the Giants. And Gidley taking some water, needing it. Brown with the kick down the centre of the field. And Makinson will return this ball. Only, though, as far as Darrell Clark. Copybook tackle from the Warrington hooker. Well, here's Owens.
It was difficult for Kevin Brown to find any space then. The back three, Tommy Makinson, Jack Owens, Adam Swift, had all dropped back, cutting down those field position and them options for Kevin Brown. Kyler Moore's on the field now here.
So is Roby. Here is Walker. So Kieran Cunningham is shifting things around, switching players about, trying to prise open this Warrington defence. Wilkin, the show and go to Amor, took the tackle. Last one, though, they're only just over halfway, the Saints. Roby back to Smith. Smith with the kick. And that will be off the post pad and into the arms of Ratchford. Here's Matty Russell.
Well, they know they've got to cut down on that man, Matty Russell. Stephen Ratchford, look at the intelligence that he's got, organising at the back, bringing players on. A big, long, wide pass to Johnson, trying to get outside of those tight defenders for Saints. That's what they've missed, Eddie.
Well, didn't they have a lot of success when they had players running from dummy half like Ratchford and Russell and Clark, all making 10, 15 metres, finding a quick play of the ball? Teams have been able to prevent that a little bit this season with Warrington. As a result, I think with it a quick play of the ball, they're struggling to find a way to win matches.
Here is Hughes, though, as Warrington move forward with Evans. Evans taking on Theo Farge. Russell on the last here. Gidley will hoist this high.
There's some pressure from Brown.
Makinson is there, and that's a good tackle from Brown.
Good pressure, disciplined. He called for that on the inside. He set off as soon as that ball hit the foot of Gidley. And again, look at the way that they're hunting in defence. The marker defence for Warrington has been special. Look at the pressure that they're doing. They're knowing that they're hunting from the inside. As soon as the Saints player, they pass that ball. Coming up with some big efforts in defence.
Amor plays the ball to Roby. Farge. Zebtea gets it away back to Farge. Little Frenchman tries to get away from the Welshman, Rhys Evans, but can't. And they're still trapped 30 metres away from their own line here, the Saints on the last tackle. It's a charge down. Well, it sometimes comes up for Westerman and sometimes it doesn't, and they've just gifted St Helens an extra set.
We saw him in the World Club Challenge. He set up the first try with a charge down. There was no kick pressure from Saints when Warrington put up that high kick, but there you go, Matty Smith right in the eye line. Joe Westerman, who I think has been one of the best forwards in the Warrington colours so far in 2017.
Well, he applied the pressure, but he gave the ball back inadvertently to the Saints, and that's why Roby has it after tackle number 4. He'll get up and play the ball to Wilkin, who'll find Kyle Amor. And he gets the arms free and gives it back to Roby. Roby then finds Matty Smith, tries to skip away from Westerman. Can't do that. He'll play the ball to Roby. Roby then to Theo Farge. Farge will hoist this high to the corner. The chase is on here, and Ratchford's underneath it. Takes it brilliantly.
Again, well taken, wasn't it? No respect for his body when he goes up for that ball. He knows his job as the fullback is to go up, contest for that ball and make sure that he comes up with it. Look at that. Doesn't really look at what's happening with the likes of Mark Purcell putting pressure on him.
What's more impressive about Ratchford for me is the fact that it's almost 6 months since he's played a game, yet his timing both in attack and defence seems spot on. Really, really impressive comeback game.
Now then, there's something here for Warrington, perhaps with Toby King. Momentarily they had a 2-on-1 overlap down the left-hand side. Hull are leading against Wigan. Highlights available at full time, don't forget, of all the matches being played elsewhere tonight, and indeed this one. High kick from Warrington again. Makinson's underneath this. This time the chase is a little more laboured. Brad Dwyer gets to Makinson, who fights for his feet, plays the ball. Wilkin over the top of Owens. He finds Adam Swift in centre field. Ashton Sims is out there now for Warrington.
He's the super sub, isn't he? Brad Dwyer, 70 appearances in that tackle for the Warrington club. Just started 7 games, loves to get it out from dummy half, got so much speed.
And he's tenacious, clamping the ball to the body of Zeb Taylor, couldn't get the offload away. Roby in centre field to Amor, takes on Westerman, legs come up from Dwyer's pull, and St Helens get another penalty. 28 minutes, nearly 29 minutes gone, 0-0. This is Warrington Saints. It's normally about 16 all at this stage.
Yeah, well, just as he's trying to build pressure, Eddie, from the defence, the sub Brad Dwyer just lifts up Kyle Amor, knowing now that they've gifted the opposition maybe 20 metres. Saints just taking the time. They're all congregated, talking about what they want to do in this next set of 6. Mark my words, Matty Smith will be leading this set now. Good field position, close to Warrington's line, telling players where he wants them.
Indeed, this set starts 25 metres away. Louis McCarthy-Scarlett will be the first run. The long hair flowing behind him. Down he goes, 22 metres away now. It's with Kyle Amor. Down the middle with Amor, and Brown and Cooper and Dwyer eventually get him down. This is a great chance for St Helens to get the first points of the evening with Roby. Back he comes to Smith. Smith then to Farr. Short ball from him to Morgan. Rhys Evans and Kurt Gidley were waiting and they sprung the trap. Roby now. Oh, a nice little feint from Roby down to the in-goal area. The ball has come free, I think, off Matty Russell. And it could be a try for Zeb Taylor, perhaps.
Got no try.
They've got no try in the field. They're going to have to check the grounding. And I think, did I hear James Childs say that he thinks it's a goal line dropout, that Warrington grounded the ball in the goal?
He does. He think, well, certainly him and the touchers both think that Matthew Russell has grounded the ball in goal, which would obviously give a goal line dropout. Check the onside first. All the chasers are onside. And what happens at the other end? Does he ground the ball correctly? He has to have downward pressure. Well, he hasn't grounded it yet. Hasn't grounded it yet, I don't think. Certainly can't see from that side. What does the other angle tell us? So he knocks the ball backwards. Can't ground it with his knee. Where's the touch? That's a try.
It is a try for Zeb Taylor. It is a try for Zeb Taylor on the evidence of those pictures we've just seen.
But there's no grounding at all there. He goes to pick the ball up. You've got to deliberately ground the ball now. And certainly his hands aren't on it there. His knee touches it, so you can't ground it with your knee. See the same thing there. Nothing in contact with the ground. Certainly not deliberate. A deliberate grounding. And Zeb Taylor is the first man to the ball. The ball's still live. There's the touch. That's a try.
Robert Hicks is the video referee. He has had a good look at all this. Has the deadlock been broken on half an hour? Do Saints take the lead? Yes, they do. First try for St Helens for Zeb Taylor. The one-time New Zealand international, now a Cook Islands international. He had an outstanding year last year. 5 tries, his best return for 8 seasons in the NRL, and he has nudged St Helens ahead.
Well, it's not a set piece. James Roby just gets out from dummy half. He fakes the goal one way, comes back, drops it onto his boot, knowing that he's got 3 players on the short side that are pushing up. Warrington have got to account for those players, and Matty Russell, he's sat back, and it looks so easy for people sat at home for what Matty Russell's got to deal with. All he's got to do is pick it up or maybe get rid of it into the dead ball area. He's got so many things going on. As well, he's got to contend with that man, Zeb Taylor.
Well, Zeb Taylor's try, and here is a big decision by coach Kieran Cunningham. Mark Percival retains the kicking duties, despite the fact that Matty Smith is now back in this St Helens side. So Percival with 10 goals to his name, and 4 from 4 in a 2018 win at Warrington last August. And it's 1 from 1 here tonight, and St Helens lead by 6 points to 0.
Well, it's lovely play from the hooker. He's just entered the fray, James Roby. He feints to go to the open side. There's actually more defenders than there are attackers. When teams are attacking their opponents, they're looking for an overload of attackers, but there was more than enough personnel to sort that out. But unfortunately, Matty Russell, he makes a mistake, but he's there, Zeb Taylor, and he's got the first try for St Helens.
Am I right in thinking that they look the most likely and have looked the most likely to score tonight?
Probably because they've had so much possession, so close to the opponent's line. It'd be fascinating to know what was said amongst the Warrington players. They've played well by their standards this season for 30 minutes. They've missed very few tackles and they've not had many chances, but they're still in this fight. Whether the heads drop now, very often we see that with teams when low on confidence, conceded early at the points the first time, and it can tend to dent them. It'll be interesting in the next 2 or 3 minutes how they respond.
This is Kyle Amor. Next week we will see St Helens at one of the form teams of the Super League. They beat Castleford Tigers last week for the first time this year. Salford Saints next week.
Again, Eddie, it's just like a mistake, isn't it, when you're carrying the ball, giving the ball away or giving a penalty away. Here, you've got to make sure that you clear the ruck, you're disciplined in that area, because this is where you want to defend. This is where you can work as a unit. You can afford to be a touch tighter than where you're going to be defending now, because you've got to start spreading the defenders out.
Well, Salford St Helens will be followed next Friday by Leeds against Wigan. Next Friday, 7:30, Sky Sports 2. And everything good comes in threes. Catalans against Wakefield on Saturday, April the 1st. Sky Sports 3. Barry and Terry will be on duty then because it's April Fool's Day.
Wait.
This is Amor.
Don't answer the phone.
And Hull have streaked into a 12-0 lead against Wigan. Wigan, who have their injury problems, but Hull looking to capitalise on their Wembley success of 2016. Going well for Lee Radford. Here is Roby. Roby finds Wilkin, and Farge gets away from Gidley quite easily and finds Percival. Percival slips the pass back to Farge. Theo Farge finds Matty Smith. The kick from Matty Smith is in rotation for Jack Owens. He'll score if he's got this down. I think they're going to refer this upstairs. No, they're not. The try is given.
It's a good try, Eddie.
And it's come about as a result of a brilliant kick from Matty Smith. And that's what Kieran Cunningham has been wanting all season. Somebody in the scrum half role to push the team around, get the kicking game on the very front foot, and that's exactly what Matty Smith has produced here. And he has got the try for Jack Owens, going on the back of his match winner against Catalan last week.
Some good offload here from Saints. It's Roby who jumps out. A series of passes. He does well to ride that tackle, Theo Farge. But when Mark Percival comes back inside, he offloads the ball. There's a bit of thinking time here for Matty Smith. He holds the ball, sees the space, puts the ball into the space, and Jack Owens pops up, puts the ball down for a try.
Because they've got all the field position, they look like they've got plenty in the tank, don't they? They've not been challenged, and look at the time that Matty Smith has to kick that ball, and Jack Owens just the confidence to pick it up, score in the corner, but look at the weight on that kick.
Well,
it's
two
perfect.
tries from 2 kicks. The first you had a degree of luck involved in it, but this is like a hole-in-one where he puts it invitingly there for the right winger to pounce on. 2 quick tries on the back of penalties conceded by Warrington, which have allowed them again the opportunity to put those dangerous kicks in.
Well, while we were watching that replay and those replays of Jack Owens' try, I was looking at some of the faces on the Warrington Wolves players. There is anxiety etched across each and every one of those faces. Some furrowed brows. They're in a bad place at the moment, I think. They need something special to kickstart them.
When you're not in the winner's circle and things are going against you, you're looking round for someone to inspire you. You just need someone to kickstart that with one win.
Oh, this isn't bad. Oh, we're not. The upright.
And you said give it to Matty Smith, Eddie.
I didn't have to say it's an interesting decision from Kieran Cunningham, but he knows what he's doing. I wouldn't know what I'm doing and telling people what to kick and all that business, but he does. And Tony Smith and Richard Agar have got a problem or two to solve again.
Well, it's worth giving the penalties away, not getting to the kicks again. I think that's earned them. Featured it last night, the completion rates in the games that they've lost in around 50% to early 60s. You can't win games like that. You cannot turn the ball over, complete to 50-60%. Always, when you hear coaches talk, Eddie, you'd always say about 75-80% they'll win your games.
But there are coaches who will not have anything to be said about completion rates. They don't believe in it.
Well, I'd rather attack than defend.
Walker again for Saints. 12-0 they lead. I'm just trying to think, have Warrington really threatened the St Helens line yet tonight?
No, they've been coming away from their own line all evening, and it is about possession, it is about how high your completion rates are, but it is also about where you're playing your ball and how many times you threaten the line of your opponents.
Here goes Mark Percival, he's broken through, he has Adam Swift for support, gets the ball to Adam Swift, Russell falls over, and Adam Swift goes across for the third St Helens try. We've waited a while for this game to take a light in terms of try scoring, and we have had now 3 tries in 5 minutes for the Saints. Crisis, well, I'm afraid it might be now for Warrington, because they're facing an 18-0 disadvantage as we go to half-time if the kick is good.
Eddie, I'm a big fan of that left edge for St. Adam Swift. Said earlier, strong on his kick returns, but Mark Percival gets this ball from Zebtaya. He's got good footwork, steps off his left. He averages 2 clean breaks per game. And just look at the way that he draws Stephen Ratchford in. Adam Swift's been chased down by Matty Russell, but just again backs himself, backs up his centre, and just look at that, nice and composed, transfers it into 2 arms, and Adam Swift does all the rest.
And you mentioned the word anxiety. I think it was anxiety that made Rhys Evans bite in. He wasn't supposed to go for Zebtaya. When Zebtaya releases the player outside him, it's because there's an overread by Rhys Evans. They're frightened for what's going to happen, Warrington, at the minute. They're trying to fix things that they're not supposed to be responsible for fixing. And Tony Smith, when he gets his team inside, will have to say, trust your defenders, trust the people around you, fix up the things that you're responsible for, and it'll make the job a heck of a lot easier.
Well, Adam Swift is playing his 99th game for St Helens tonight. He's just recorded his 3rd try of the season. He got a try last week against the Catalan Dragons, 17 tries last year. And a young man who is quite deadly when he gets the opportunity on the flank for the Saints. And for the first time this year, I hear when the Saints go marching in from the terraces here at St Helens home ground, as Percival tries to maintain his 100% record with the boot, and does. 18-0, the Saints lead. 3 tries in 5 minutes. We're 3 minutes away from the half-time siren, and Warrington in a hole.
Well, it's fascinating. Warrington have got enough players with enough experiences in games behind them to have been in matches where they've been 18 points behind with over half of the game still to play. They've got enough charm to get back and win the match. Do they have enough character here? This is a brilliant test to see. They've had a lot of success over the last decade. They got to both major finals last year, but this is now the ultimate test for 2017 in my eyes.
I know the word Brisbane is now banned in the Warrington dressing rooms and all around the town of Warrington. What on earth has happened to Warrington since they performed so magnificently in the World Club Series against the Broncos?
Well, it was for one half, Eddie, if we're honest, wasn't it? It was 24-6 at half-time. In the second half, I think they failed to score a single try. Maybe landed a penalty goal in that match, but that was all they did, wasn't it? They had a brilliant 40 minutes. But that can happen in this sport. You need a purple patch. If it lasts for 10 or 15 minutes and you can rack up 3 or 4 tries, then you can see all of a sudden you put 18 points on the board.
Well, they have to find... Is that a high shot from Mike Cooper in the face of Amor? No. They have to find their form. They have to find their confidence quickly, Warrington. At the moment, it seems light years away. Matty Smith, game management down the line. Great kick, because Ratchford almost had to run this ball out under pressure from Owens, who was coming in.
He looks at it, he thinks about it, and just lets it go. And I think that's where Warrington are. They're begging for the half-time. They need to sit down, reassess. It's a good kick from Matty Smith. Well weighted, well measured. But you'd expect Stephen Ratchford to pick that up 9 times out of 10.
Well, teams often talk about how many play the balls they've had inside the opposition 20. I guess it's a degree of being in a great attacking position. St Helens have had 14, Warrington just 1. Just 1 play the ball close to the opponent's line. Now, I know you can score a try from the own end of the field, but they don't happen quite as often. Generally, you get closer and you get away over the line. And Warrington just haven't had that opportunity.
And that's all about pressure, isn't it, Phil? And they're not building enough pressure.
Well, on Facebook Live, prior to the start of tonight's match, Salford are 26-0 up against Widnes. Stephen Broomhead, who is the chairman of the Warrington Wolves Club, said on camera to Angela Powers on Facebook Live that the Warrington Wolves have complete confidence in coach Tony Smith. I would hate to say that that is a vote of confidence from the board, but Stephen Broomhead seems quite assured that he will get it right in the end.
Tony Smith's a very good coach. Wherever he's been, he's performed. He's lifted silverware. He's turned on this Warrington side. He's done a very good job over these years. So I'm just sure it's just the time that they're going through as Brad Dwyer.
This is a chance. This is a chance for them now. This is Brad Dwyer. Awful play the ball, but Westerman is allowed to carry on. Here now is Brown. Fires the pass to Gidley. Gidley then goes wide to Ratchford. Ratchford wide to Evans. And that's a wonderful tackle from Percival. And the coach is on his way down to deliver a very difficult team talk at half-time. His won't be quite so hard, Kieran Cunningham, because 3 tries in 5 minutes have turned this game round, and he has his little general out there now in the shape of Matty Smith, whose kick produced the try for Owens on 34 minutes. Either side of Owens' try, we had the first ever St Helens try from Zeb Tyre, and then Adam Swift's try 4 minutes from half-time. Percival has been perfect with the boot, 100%, 3 from 3, and St Helens are 18-0 up in score. People scratching their heads. What on earth has happened to Warrington this year? Top try scorers last year, 150. They had the meanest defence, 95 tries conceded. In 2017, 13 tries scored, 27 now shipped in 5.5 rounds. Tony Smith, 8 years at the helm. This is his first real crisis. He lost 5 in a row with Leeds in July and August 2006. Lost the first 15 at Huddersfield in 2001. But can he turn the tide in 2017 against St Helens here tonight? Ratchford gets us underway for the second half. Makinson is underneath the kickoff. Kyle Amor will take it forward into the chest of Ashton Sims. A big hill, Terry, for Warrington to climb in this second half.
It is, Eddie. They need some space, they need some time. They've still got enough architects to break down this Saints defence, but they need to score, I reckon, in the opening 15 minutes. They need to build some pressure. They didn't do that in the first half. You look at the way that Saints have played the game. They had 86 play the balls in that first half. 63 of those were sent to field. They didn't shift it for shifting its sake. They brought Warrington down, they ground them down, and all of a sudden, when they needed to score, they come up with 3 tries.
Walker will get to his feet and play the ball here to Roby, who finds his captain, John Wilkin. Wilkin manages to get the ball away, but scruffily, Roby, Owen Roby passed the ball. He was on his knees, but the referee obviously thought that he had grounded his ball-carrying arm.
That's not a penalty then?
Tells him to go back and play the ball again.
Well, it's a new interpretation. It's been in for about 4 years now. The referee's call held as he's passed the ball, so he's giving it back to play again.
That's what he's done now to John Wilkin. There's Matty Smith. That could be out on the full. It is. Well, that is Matty Smith's first black mark.
Eddie, and that comes around because of the pressure from Brad Dwyer. Look at him. He's getting in his eye line. He's shot out from the marker position.
Was he going for a 40-20, do you think?
I don't think so. I think Tez is right. He's cutting the time off. All the time he's heading towards Matty Smith, Brad Dwyer. He gives him no angle to go at, and eventually the ball goes out on the full.
Well, this is a good place for Warrington to start their set of 6 in this second half. And then possession there with Brown, who gives it to Ashton Sims. Ashton Sims tries to go round Kyle Amor. Can't. Dwyer, here's Brown again. And Brown looks for the runners. It's Jack Hughes. But 3 there to cut him off at the pass. And Dwyer gets it into centre field to Gidley. Gidley will attack the line and then find Brown. Brown then gives it to Westerman, who tries to spin out of the would-be tackle of McCarthy Scarsbrook. Roby finished him off. Here's Brown again. This now Gidley. Warrington on the ball. Just the start they wanted. Second half.
Perfect start, isn't it, for Warrington? Joe Westerman with the big crest, the big go through. lands on his front, plays the ball very quickly. Kevin Brown straight in at dummy half and recognises that Saints are on the back foot. And that man, Kurt Gidley, all the experience he's got in the world, one of those plays that'll be hurting where the position that Warrington are in.
His first try of the season, Kurt Gidley.
Well, here's Matty Smith's mistake, his first mistake of the evening. But it's the response and reaction and the urgency, ultimately, that gets Warrington Wolves over the try line. Kevin Brown jumps in, he supplies the pass. A bit of a basic mistake and a basic error from Adam Walker, whose ball watching isn't aware of the support runner on the outside. And the first try by Kurt Gidley.
Improved by Stephen Ratchford. Warrington are back in at 18-6.
What does it USA, Eddie? Never write off the Wolves. Do you know what? 18-6. This is not very few people thought that Wakefield could come back from being behind last night against Lee. In fact, I think there's less people that even believe that Warrington had a chance. But with that early try, look, they've a spring in the step. They've given a lifeline here to get back into this match. And it'll be interesting to see if they can really get on a roll.
Right, let's go down to the sideline. Angela Powers with the half-time news.
Thanks, Eddie. The message from Kieran Cunningham's dressing room was to carry on as they did in the first half. They completed high in that half and made Warrington come out of their own end, which they need to continue in this half. There's little lapse of discipline maybe at the first half of this game and the very end of the last half of less about a few minutes of the first half. So discipline is important, concentration is important, and keep their focus. From Tony Smith's point of view, he'll be delighted with the start from this. He was reflecting on the fact that the tries came in in a 9-minute spell for St Helens. And if they can score 3 tries in 9 minutes, imagine what can happen in 40 minutes in this half. Just got to keep the field position, work on field position, and need to improve in their defence as well, obviously. But it's about focus, about discipline, and about belief.
Thanks, Ange. Maybe Tony Smith's watch is a bit slow because we made it 3 tries in 5. But anyway, 3 tries in 9 for Tony Smith. Doesn't matter, it was 3 tries.
Well, a sloppy start from that kick-off for Saints, who give the penalty away. Adam Walker offside,
and he was about 3 or 4 metres offside as well.
And then Warrington get down the other end of the park on the back of that penalty, and then they make a mistake. That's the frustration. They'll be creeping in now to Warrington, but 12 points in front, Saints. I'm sure there'll be some Saints players looking at the players that they're playing against, thinking, come on, this game's not over yet, lads.
Widnes 4, Salford 30. Widnes obviously suffering with injury at the moment, and Salford with a new contract for coach Ian Watson, playing on top of their game. And there are a couple of players in the sin bin, I believe, at Huddersfield and Leeds. Danny Brough is in the sin bin, and Carl Ablett is in the sin bin for the Leeds Rhinos. So a bit of a fiery encounter at the John Smith Stadium. Here, Warrington first score of this second half, and importantly 2 from their point of view. Roby is the dummy half for Saints. He goes high off the boot of Matty Smith, well claimed by Ratchford, and immediately clobbered by Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook.
But again, Eddie, good kick pressure from Warrington. Enthusiasm is a buzzword within your team. It's followed by actions, or if it's followed by actions, that's what it looks like. You get to collect the ball on your own terms. You get to work the ball away from your own line. If you, as the ball carrier, have support runners, as we say that, Rhys Evans is a lone ranger there carrying the ball up. If you've got support runners, you're a difficult proposition then.
Oh, Darrell Clark has lost the ball forwards. It's 0 tackle. And now he gets a penalty, does Kyle Amor. And I think, was that something that Kurt Gidley said out of turn to referee James Child?
No, he runs at him. He is offside. He is offside. He chooses to run at the offside player, not the other way around. That's it. Walk away. Walk away.
I think there was something said.
Yeah, I think Kurt Gidley's querying the decision for, or saying that Kyle Amor was in an offside position when Clark ran at him. James Child was saying, well, he chose to run at him, and that Kyle Amor was trying to get out of the way. That was the basis for the discussion and the penalty.
Fair enough, and you can always query what the referee's decision is. It's just the manner in which you choose to query it.
Approach the referee, and the tone of your voice as well.
Is that why you conceded so many penalties? Here is Theo Farge, gets the ball away to Zeptea. Gidley, this time getting the tackle in with Rhys Evans, and then holding down interference. Rhys Evans is picked out by referee James Child.
Well, Matty Smith saying, should we go for 2 points here? Again, as soon as that penalty's awarded, he's just taking control of the situation.
And they're going to go for the 2 that's on offer.
I don't think he asked, I think he told. James Roby is the man closest to the ball. He was looking at Matty Smith. I said it before the game, he'll have such an influential role, whether he touches the ball or not. All actions, all eyes, all the noise and communication will go through Matty Smith.
Interesting that Matty Smith called the shots. John Wilkin is the captain.
He would be the midfield general. A captain, Jamie Peacock was captain for Great Britain. I dare say he didn't call when teams were going to go for 2 or not. He led with his actions, and I think Matty Smith has been given the role of being the midfield general, deciding where we're going to play, how we're going to play, what we do when we get in specific areas of the pitch, and how we're going to implement the game plan that Kieran Cunningham sets out with.
Barry, you will have dodged national service, but the generals outrank captains. I think they possibly do. Certainly in this game, anyway.
Well, John Wilkin will be happy that someone like Matty Smith is helping him with the decision. It's all the pressure's not resting on his shoulders. He can play his own game.
Big kick this if it takes it to 14, Eddie.
Yes, it is. Means Warrington have to score 3 times again. He's pushed it the wrong side of the post this time and doesn't get it dead. And so Westerman can bring the ball back into the field of play. First miss from Percival tonight. Referee shouts held. Saints have got to let him go. Toby King plays the ball. Here goes Darrell Clark. Straight at Matty Smith. And he draws the penalty from James Child for that.
Well, that's what he was trying to get the previous time, wasn't it? Darrell Clark. From that quick play of the ball, he gets out, spots that Matty Smith isn't set, he isn't squirt. He goes at him and then obviously gets the penalty.
So Toby King takes it forward on the first tackle this set. Here is Ashton Sims. Warrington will feel that they played their get-out-of-jail card there with that miss from Mark Percival. Kevin Brown in centre field for the Wolves. A fumble by Kurt Gidley. Oh, he will be furious with himself.
You don't see that there. One of the most experienced players, Kurt Gidley. See, just has a little look up at Zeb Taylor, who's in front of him at the line from Warrington. He had options inside and out. Kevin Brown goes out wide to that man Kurt Gidley.
And it is Zeb Taylor as well, isn't it? He's been running at Kurt Gidley all evening. 6'3", 6'4", probably 105, 6 kgs, running direct at him, taking some juice out of his tank. But Kurt Gidley at 34, very experienced player, had a wonderful match in the World Club Challenge that we keep harping on about. He needs to be better than that.
Adam Swift takes it forward for the Saints, who lost here to Warrington last year, 4 points to 26. Saints then were in the middle of a form slump. They were 26-0 down after 8 minutes of the second half. The absent Johnny Lomax tonight, he saved the nilling for them. This is Walmsley, that's a solid run.
We've got some props in Super League now. We were trying to then flash players across the back of ruck, and we saw Fafita last night, Walmsley tonight.
And Amor carries the battle forward for Saints here, and Chris Hill is almost ripping the shorts from his left leg. Here now is Matty Smith, who finds Taya, gets it away to Percival. Rhys Evans was alert, pulls him down. Roby shoots in a dummy half. Taya with a kick. Was that played up by Warrington? Whose head and feet is this? No, Warrington. Ball played the man, not the other way round.
He didn't make a play for this, Eddie. The speed from dummy half from Saints. They go out, give it Zeb Taylor. He's kicked the ball straight ahead at Kurt Gidley. It's ricocheted off his knee, goes straight out into touch.
He was advancing towards the player, though, Stuart.
Well, he's just stood still, isn't he? He hasn't put his leg out, he hasn't moved the leg towards the ball, and that will have encouraged the officials to give him any benefit that there might have been in the doubt of the decision.
And Kurt Gidley and Warrington will not be disputing that call, that is for sure. Russell goes down, first tackle. Nearly 11 minutes of the second half gone. Warrington with first blood in this second half. Don Crosby back in the side after missing the last 3. Brave little run from Jack Johnson. Clark. Typical trademark run from him. Flicked backwards by Kevin Brown. Play on. Chris Hill first to react. They're just like a luxury car at the moment, Warrington, aren't they? That are misfiring on a few cylinders. What can Gidley do here? Can he get the hand free and get the ball away? No, he can't. He goes down on the 5th tackle. Plays the ball to Clark. Brown and Hughes. Nice kick from Hughes. Good weight on this. Good weight on this from Hughes. And then he pushes Tommy Makinson into the advertising hoardings, and James Charles has a little word on the run with him.
I think Kevin Brown's asking too much there from Jack Hughes. Pressure, running at full speed to put in a delicate and accurate kick. I'm surprised that the halfback, Kevin Brown himself, didn't decide to try and apply some pressure and kick that ball accurately and get it sitting in that 7-metre in-goal area.
They to score from the DW Stadium. Hull are ahead 22 points to 0. A milestone night, though, for Mark Sneyd. He has missed his first kick of 2017. But at 22-0, I suppose Lee Radford and he will say, who cares? Wilkin will take it over halfway for the Saints. In great form at the moment, Mark Sneyd and Hull, but Wigan, they too doing it tough with injury. That was touched by Darrell Clark. 6 to go here. And this is Ryan Morgan. Tries to get away from Brown, and with the help from King, they eventually get Morgan to the deck. That's the 0 tackle. 30 in a row. 30 out of 30 for Mark Sneyd before that miss tonight, by the way. Roby 20 metres away. Walmsley straight into Westerman. Big collision. Hill hanging on. Could have been penalised. Roby. Smith. Back it comes. Makinson. Hauled down by Gidley and Evans. Penalty. It was coming because Warrington were desperate to slow them down. Take 2, says Kieran. Take 2 this time. Mark Percival.
Well, it is 5 metres closer to the post than the last effort.
Kennedy, that penalty comes about because Saints getting through the line, poking the nose through, landing on the front. Kirk Gidley just holding on to that leg. He knew that they could have been in trouble. It could have been 6 points if he would have got up and played that ball quickly.
St Helens, sorry Terry, we watched this. St Helens supporters not happy with this decision. I saw some of them making the sign the coaches do, run it behind the post, booing the decision to take the 2 points. Surely, and it's Kieran Cunningham's call this time, surely the 2 points is more important than entertaining.
Well, that's why
the 2 points at stake tonight.
Well, that's why you fans, you turn up, you want to see tries scored, you want to be entertained.
But at the moment, when you're third bottom in the table, you get the victory first, you entertain second.
Kieran Cunningham looks at it a different way. That's what fans do.
Kieran wouldn't mind if they won by 1 point, as long as he gets the 2 competition points. Derek Traynor, Ian Talbot, all sat assessing this game, making decisions as they're going along. Maybe they want to capitalise on the opportunity and the missed conversion from a couple of minutes ago.
Well, here's his chance to make Warrington have to score 3 times to win the match in the last 25 minutes. He's found the mark this time. So 20 points to 6 it is. Yes, so many years they have been known as the entertainers, have the Saints. But in Super League this year, before tonight, 14 tries scored and 14 conceded. Tight. Much tighter than in the past.
But you know, I'm a big fan of contested restarts here. I think there should be more challenges for possession in the game. Here's an opportunity. I think if they kick this ball deep here, then basically they're going to get what they've had for almost an hour. They need to try and find a way of getting the ball back in the opponent's half. I guess I'm going to be wrong here. He's going to kick it deep here. There's 25 minutes to go. But Warrington need the ball to get some points, to save this hopes of this season in my eyes.
Yes, Phil, you're writing them off if they lose tonight. Writing their top 4 ambitions off anyway.
Well, they'd have to win about 13 of the next 17 remaining games, and that to me, with the confidence that they're displaying tonight and the performance level, seems impossible.
14 points the gap. And if Warrington lose tonight, they will be well off the pace. They'll be at the bottom of the table still, of course. Doesn't matter whether they win, lose or draw here. They'll still be bottom of the table. But the thing is, this losing run will go on. And the likes of Castleford and Hull and Wigan, if they could get a win with their current injury problems, and it looks like that might be beyond them tonight. But they're putting a bit of daylight between themselves and the foot of the table. This is high from Ratchford. Oh, it's been claimed then by Makinson. He pinched it and then lost it.
How did he do that then? How did he do that, Tommy Makinson? I bet Stephen Ratchford was looking at the ball as he took it away from him. I thought for a second he was going to time his run to hit the fullback as he landed on the floor, but 60 metres the Saints side made when coming away from their own line. Tommy Makinson's been exceptional tonight.
I wonder why he let the ball go, because it was touched certainly by Ratchford. That would have been 6 to go.
He's trying to offload the ball to Ryan Morgan, though.
Well, probably, yes.
Probably heard a call from him, Eddie.
If he'd have held on, they would have had 6 more tackles, 5 metres out.
It was a brilliant piece of skill.
It was. Brown gets it wide to Harvey Levette. Levette to Toby King. It's a nice kick. This is going to stand in the in-goal area. Makinson with a bit of work to do here.
Well, that fabulous kick, wasn't it?
That's the quality again. We talked about him up the other end of the pitch. Tommy Makinson fulfills his role as a fullback at the other end. I'm looking forward to seeing George King get involved. I thought when Ryan Atkins wasn't available for this game, and Toby King came into this game, he offers something a little bit different. He's got that spark, he's got that creativity, and in open space, given half a chance, I'd expect something from the young man.
Yes, he's filling big shoes, though, isn't he, in Ryan Atkins?
He's a different player than Ryan Atkins. Ryan Atkins is very brutal, bustling runner. You back him 9 times out of 10 to score that try 10 metres out. But I think that Toby King has a bit more about him, a bit more in his game.
Switch the direction of this kick. Oh, this is a bad one, I think. No, it isn't. It's all right. It's all right. Oh, we better get hold of this. Was he inside the 40 then? Was he inside the 40 then? He was. He was. Or did it hit a St Helens player on the way? No, it didn't. He was inside the 40.
Yeah, straight off with the boot.
And then, well, it looked like a shocker.
It looked like an untidy kick, didn't it?
Nobody wants the ball.
Yeah, it looked like an untidy kick.
I think Warrington gave that away because they thought it was as bad as I did.
It's what they call a flapper.
Well, a flapper or not, John Wilkin has come up with a 40-20.
Look, right, he hits the belly of the ball, it goes up, it just comes down, lands in the right spot for Saints.
And of course, it's not a scrum, it's a tap restart, so here we go. And that's Roby. Roby to Smith, back it goes on the inside to Luke Douglas. St Helens now within 3 metres of the line, and it is with Wilkin who got the 40-20 away. Farge to Percival, tries to come inside Rhys Evans. He gives the ball away to Theo Farge again, and he's grounded by the massive figure of Chris Hill. Here now is Zeb Taylor. Roby waits
on that right edge there. Look at this.
Short ball to Amor. Good job that Ashton Sims had hold of him. Roby fires the pass to Wilkin. Wilkin then to Matty Smith. Dapped through by Matty Smith, and Ratchford had read it perfectly.
And it was a long ball that out to Mark Percival. He was caught in 2 minds, Matty Smith, what to do with that play. Matty Russell comes in now, trying to gain those valuable metres as Warrington looked to shift it and play it wide.
Here is that man, Toby King.
They're trying to play outside the defenders when defenders are there. They get a penalty yet. Ryan Morgan holding on too long to Toby King. But they're shifting the ball, trying to get outside them. Saints are just pushing off.
But he's fighting for his feet, Toby King. I think that's why he gets the verdict.
And you want to see some fight, you want to see some effort.
He's missed the last 5 matches as Toby King, the Irish international. Trying to take his chance tonight with Atkins out. Clark showed it to Brown, gave it to Westerman instead. Westerman loops the pass to Hill. He comes wider to Hughes. Theo Farge is putting himself about defensively, isn't he?
He gets spotted up because he's one of the smallest men in the Saints team. So bigger fellas will run at him, trying to get over him for that quick play of the ball.
No, he battles above his weight, all right. This is Westwood. Brown to Gidley. Gidley then looks for the runner, it's Chris Hill. 4 tackles gone for Warrington, 2 remaining there, 11 metres away. As Brown puts the kick in early, and it has to be shuffled dead by Jack Owens.
Here we go, this is a game now, isn't it? Warrington have come to the party, Saints are under pressure. If you wipe out the 18-0 scoreline at half-time, this is a cracking match.
And another set of 6.
Yes, repeat sets. You never know. They're trying to find the formula. Brown, Ratchford and company.
Well, you look at that spine. Eddie, Ratchford, Brown, Gidley, Clark. Obviously Brad Dwyer when he's on the field as well.
Well, they're in no hurry, St Helens.
Well, they've sent reinforcements onto that far side of the field. Dominic Peru has just come on. He hasn't made any contribution so far, but I think it's been obvious. Warrington passing the ball to their left, hoping to break through on that side, and reinforcements have just arrived.
Westerman takes it forward on the first tackle. We're in the last quarter of the match. Warrington need to score 3 times to win this, and he now is Jack Hughes. Again, Theo Farge putting himself about the little Frenchman. Knock on! Knock on by Jack Hughes, who disputes the call and disputes it in the wrong manner. Penalty. There's no question. It's a knock on.
Well, that's just the frustration that's creeping in now, isn't it?
Listen, the point is that's 2 penalties for his set. Two penalties for his set. That's the message. You know what it is. Sort it out.
2 penalties for dissent. James Child stamping his authority on the match.
You're down there, Saints line. You've got them where you want them, and then all of a sudden a mistake goes against you, and you talk out of turn, and you give that penalty away.
Well, you can dispute a decision, but you have to dispute it in the correct manner. It's like the arguments you and I have every other day of the week, Ted.
I probably think it's more important to get on with what's in front of you. He's not going to change his mind, and that's how
I was
brought through the game. He's not going to change his mind. Just crack on with your job and get on with defending whatever mistake you've made. Not necessarily me, Eddie.
No, I'm just saying that's how you were brought up, Barry. Well, I know it was how you were brought up, to talk properly to people, but you never disputed referee's decisions. You just walked to the dressing room.
I was always guilty, that's why. Fair dues.
This is Roby now, and he finds Douglas, who finds Wilkin. That's a good kick from Wilkin, another cracker. Adam Swift is there. Adam Swift will score for St Helens, and Kieran Cunningham punches the air with delight. Adam Swift's second try, and Warrington will be going home 0 from 6, I think.
How strong is Adam Swift? Not only is he very quick, explosive speed, but so strong in the collision. He's hurt himself as well here. But the kick on the 4th play from John Wilkin, the intelligence again that he's got. You'll see that the space as Luke Douglas just tips it on to his captain. And you can see that there's pressure from Mark Percival, there's pressure from Adam Swift. And he just follows up this kick. Look at that, straight at the line, a couple of steps, he pulls up those defenders, and it's a well-weighted kick. But look at the strength and the effort to spin out of that tackle and ground the ball. Excellent play from the winger.
You know, I think John Wilkin has sacrificed his own game for the good of the team. He's been asked to play at half-back by his coach, Kieran Cunningham. He's playing in the second row tonight. He's playing in the back 3. It's a lovely kick, lovely kick, but it's with his right foot. He's a left-footed kicker, puts it in with his right foot, and Adam Strong has gone over, scored that try, and hurt his shoulder in the process.
He has. The Adam Swift is a strong man, is what you're trying to say. He's hurt his shoulder in the process, you're right, and he's in a bit of pain. He won't want to leave the scene, though. And John Wilkin, his kicking game is magnificent tonight. He got that wonderful 40-20.
He's got time.
His kicks in general play have been super.
He's got time, Eddie.
They hadn't scored a try from a kick until tonight. 14 tries, none of them involving kicks, but the accuracy of the delicate short ones, the one from Matthew Smith, and that one there from John Wilkin. Unfortunately, the kick's not gone over, but they've got such a lead here now. It's almost impossible to see them losing from this stage.
Well, in the old days, if anyone can, Warrington can, but maybe not tonight.
And it's the short and long kicking game we saw. I think it was James Roby in the first half, the short kick that he put into the corner. That set up a try. John Wilkin, the intelligence that he's got, knowing that there's space behind, knowing that the Warrington defenders are up in the line.
Well, now we get the contested kick-off, but it's a little bit too deep just the same. And Ryan Morgan brings it back for the Saints. Well, this ground has been pretty kind to Warrington over recent years, but they have had their painful memory Remember, they lost a cup semi-final here in 2014. But in terms of Super League meetings with the Saints on this new ground, I think I said it earlier on in the piece, they've only won here once at St Helens against Warrington, March 2015.
Eddie, you talked about the crowd a couple of minutes ago. They weren't happy when Kieran Cunningham and the players on the pitch chose to go for 2 points. Listen to them now. Yes. They appreciated that try. They can smell that with 15 minutes just over left on the clock, there's a few more tries to come.
Nice kick from Matty Smith. He encourages Ratchford to bring the ball back. Ratchford does, and then gives it to young Johnson.
He's not good, Andy Johnson. Again, Matty Russell looking to shift the ball.
Gidley all wrapped up by Percival. Ratchford to Russell again.
You can't knock the effort, can you, from Warrington? They're all trying. Everyone's putting their hand up. Take this back because the referee's already called held.
You're right. It's not because they're not bothered. If anything, they're guilty of trying too hard. Yeah. Sometimes they try to fix things and end up, they compound the mistake, compound the error, penalties. They're having to go here with a shift, but look at that door.
What a hit. Mark Percival on Rhys Evans.
He's following up Tommy Makinson, isn't he, Mark Percival, from last week?
Is that another three-quarter who's going to make it into the Barry and Terry big hits?
Yes. Yes, I'll commit to that one now, Eddie. Great defender. Those decisions, when you make them, you come in, you shut those players down, and Mark Percival, I think we've said already a couple of times that when he's got the ball in hand, he's a very destructive, dangerous runner, really growing into his body now. Before, probably in 2016, he started to grow when he came into the team. In 2014, 2015, learning his trade. I think he's fully accomplished now and one of the best centres in the game.
Wilkin always serves the cause, doesn't he, Wilkin, no matter where he plays. Matty Smith, he's made a difference to Saints tonight with this kicking game of his. That is a little long.
Well, again, you go back to the options that they'll have. It's not all about give the ball to John Wilkin on the last play. He's gonna kick it so you can put pressure on him. You don't know whether John Wilkin's gonna kick it. You don't know whether that man Matty Smith's gonna kick it. James Roby from dummy half. That's what you need. You need to keep defences guessing.
And on that tap restart, which is a 7-tackle tap restart in 2017, Warrington very flat-footed.
It is. It is hard not to be, though, isn't it? You've played 6, almost lost 6, Eddie. You've played over 60 minutes and not had the bounce any luck go your way. They've been completely outclassed with some of the play from the Saints. And it's tough, isn't it? Very tough to play with the confidence as if you're still top of the league.
Ratchford, they have it in them. Speaking of tough, Woodness are doing it tough. And Salford relishing in the high pitch. And that's a high shot. Is it by Douglas or Payroll?
Well, Kevin Brown spots a gap. He goes in, it's Payroll, just goes over, just makes contact around the neck.
So a chance for Warrington then with Gidley. Time is their enemy as much as St Helens is tonight now. Brown. Back it comes to Westerman. Nice little flick out of the back door to Chris Hill, and Chris Hill won't give it up without a fight. Gets to within half a metre of the line. Darrell Clark is waiting. From Darrell Clark it goes to Brown, and Brown goes wide and finds Toby King. Tries to fool him with his footwork. Morgan sticks to the task. Tommy Makinson just pulled out, otherwise he would have been penalised for a possible flop. There is Livette, and the kick from Livette not good. Roby is able to pick it up easily.
Well, when Livette was going to kick that ball, there were still some players, Warrington players, walking back behind where Livette was. So there couldn't be an option for them. Nobody was pushing up and like challenging for that kick.
I can't help thinking that that's the wrong way around. Harvey Livette should not be kicking for Kevin Brown. It should be the other way around. Kurt Gidley as well. But they are trying. That's the point we're making. It's not because there's a lack of effort. It's just something's wrong.
Something is wrong. They're very flat, and something wrong with that pass from Zeb Taylor.
Oh, come on, let's see if Warrington can form this scrum. Jack Hughes is trying to implore his teammates to get along here as we see the ball thrown over the sideline. They stop the clock out if they can form the scrum. They have got time. They've got time. They need a miracle.
they would need a St Helens against
We
Warrington.
have seen it before. We've watched enough games to know that this could happen.
Salford Saints next Thursday will be a cracker if the scoreline stays as they are tonight. Looks like Salford are home and hosed. If Saints win this, that'll be a belter, and so will this. It's always one of the blue ribbon fixtures of the season. Leeds and Wigan, 7:30 Sky Sports 2 next Friday. April the 1st, next Saturday, the Dragons of Catalan against Wakefield Trinity. Toby King now for Warrington. Coming up to 10 minutes from time. 24-6. Warrington need a miracle. Can Westerman provide it? No under pressure from Tayer, he can't.
Yeah, he was looking to get his arm free, offload that ball to one of his teammates.
Hill to Gidley. Gidley finds Livett. Livett goes wide and it's off the boots of Jack Johnson, but Owens made a play at that. I think this will be head and feed to Warrington. Oh, it's head and feed to Saints.
Get away with it, don't they? Livett goes to that left-hand side, throws that cut-out ball to his winger. Well, Jack Johnson.
The rule that he hasn't played, I think he's actually forced his knees toward it. I think Warrington are unlucky at that one. I think there's his play at the ball. Changes the position of his legs.
Into the last 10 minutes we go then. 18 points, 3 scores needed by Warrington.
Second row, yeah.
And that's only for a draw.
Yeah, complete, boys.
But what happens in this next 10 minutes is what they do when they've got the ball. They don't want to concede a try when they're defending, and they've got to finish in a positive manner. They've got to build on it. They can't just finish the season tonight. They've got to come up with some big games over the next few weeks. They've got to turn their season around. Normally we're looking at Warrington saying they're going to be challenging top many people's favourites to get to the grand final and lift the big trophy at the end of the year.
Well, they were everyone's favourites when they beat Brisbane. Everyone's favourites. Well, this was going to be the year.
It's Leeds from 2016, isn't it? Repeated. A side who many people thought would be up the top. Got off to a terrible start and confidence drifts away. It's very easy how it can drift away so quickly from even the champion sides who've had so much success. And there's great control here now from St Helens, Roby and Smith and co. You know, just to make sure they don't press the self-destruct button.
This might be another 7 tackle set coming for Warrington. It is. It's the second long kick he's put in. Just recently, Matty Smith, he won't be happy with that. But he'd be happy that he's got through 71.5 minutes. And so will Ratchford for Warrington. Chris Hill, of course, has... I don't think he's left the field tonight, has he, Chris Hill? Oh, yes, he has. He was replaced by Walker in the first half, I think.
The conditioners at
by Ashton Sims in the first half. I've just got him transferred.
The conditioners at the clubs now, the medical staff are very important, but the conditioners are just as important. They need to make sure that when Stefan Ratchford returns, he looks fit, he looks healthy. Obviously, his skills have let him down on that occasion there.
And that play probably sums up Warrington, doesn't it, in the opening 6 games of Super League? To make the mistake like that. When do you ever see a player of that ability making a mistake like that? Tony Smith knows that. He's got a star-studded side that, for whatever reason it may be, they're not performing.
I wonder what it is. I wonder, how do you go from heroes to zeros? I mean, they competed both major finals. They were league leaders last year. They took Brisbane Broncos apart. I know they hate the fact that we're all still harping on about that, but they did for the first 40 minutes anyway. Where's it gone?
It happens in team sport. You'd have your ups, you'd have your downs, and like Warrington, they're the side that everyone wants to beat. They've been at the top of the league. They've been up challenging for honours for the last 5-6 years. So everyone raises the game to play them. It's very difficult to do it and maintain them performances week in, week out.
And it's not for a lack of investment. Kevin Brown, Mike Cooper back this year, big money signings. So the stars are there. That's a good ball from Farge to Percival.
And a good shot from Kurt Gidley as well.
It was. This is Walmsley. Roby is at dummy half, 12 metres out. And the drop goal from Matty Smith just to cause more headaches for the Warrington Wolves. And that was a good shot.
You mentioned game management last night, Eddie, and this is again what it is. set up to one side of the sticks. I'll stand centre field, straight in front of the post. And look at that perfect strike, right in front of all those die-hard Saints fans.
He's been good, hasn't he, Matty Smith?
Yeah.
He obviously started his career at St Helens, a number of different clubs, latterly his last club, Wigan. And when 3 people were asked in the box pops, when I was sat with Brian, do you think Matty Smith will make a difference? I don't think they were that committed. I wonder if you ask the same 3 people now whether they thought Matty Smith would make the difference, whether they'd give the same answer.
Well, another drop goal for Matty Smith. He kicked 25 drop goals in his Wigan career. That's a club record. 9 of them coming in 2016, last year, as Wigan made it to the grand final and, of course, won the Super League title last year against this Warrington Wolves team. Alex Walmsley all over the top of Kevin Brown.
Yeah, the enormous figure, Alex Walmsley, just wouldn't let Kevin Brown get up. He was looking at the referee. He was floored on the ground.
When you think of the matches we've seen between these two sides over the years, there has been some thrillers, haven't there? And I know that this hasn't been a thriller, but it has been workmanlike from St Helens. They've done exactly what they needed to win.
Get the job done. That's all Kieran Cunningham would have talked about.
Well, they'll be out of the bottom 4.
Outplay your opposite. Make sure you're determined every time you carry the ball. Carry it with some passion.
Clark. Brown. Can Warrington give their supporters something to go home smiling about, albeit probably from the side of their mouths? Darrell Clark. And he tries to get that ball down. He's held up, though.
In that good defence from Luke Douglas. Spots the threat, spots the danger of Darrell Clark. As soon as he goes out, Tommy Makinson holding him up, and then Douglas rides over the top of him, prevents that try.
And that will please Kieran Cunningham as much as anything that's happened up the other end of the field tonight. Can they keep them out here with Rhys Evans? Yes, they can. Percival just pulls him to ground, and that's the turnover.
He'll be happy with Percival. A number of times he's been tested, a number of times he's come up with the goods, with and without the ball. But I think what he'll focus and concentrate on, they haven't been perfect by any means, St Helens tonight, but they've done the fundamentals very well. Before the game, we talked about what it takes to be a successful side and what different components and facets successful sides have. Well, they do the little things really, really well. And I think Kieran Cunningham, Sean Long on his right there, they'll admit and they'll be pleased with the fact that they've done the little things really well.
They will. And Kieran has defended his side and his players stoutly all season. Even in some of their grimmer performances, he's always thought that they played really well. Here's a 40-20 attempt from Matty Smith again. And this time it's cut off by Johnson.
Well, if St Helens do have a successful season, I think they might well look back to the last few minutes of the game in Perpignan last weekend. And the miracle try that was set up and involved with Ryan Morgan and Theo Fage, his offload, was absolutely amazing. The confidence and the buzz that gives to the Saints on the journey home and going into this game, which was a pivotal one at round 6 here now, what it does for the side here over a strong contender against them here. There's a mistake is they made here now, and it's all falling apart for the Wolves now.
Well,
they were good for 30 minutes, but it's gone. But Saints, and that victory in Perpignan has been massive for them in my eyes.
Theo Fage, Ryan Morgan and Jack Owen, who scored the try, was on hand, and Jack Owen has his critics. He's not first choice. Whenever he gets in the team, he tries to take his opportunity. He's scored again tonight.
Tommy, ball out.
So St Helens feed the scrum with 3 minutes remaining. Percival has been outstanding. Swift's got a couple of tries. Percival has kicked 4 goals. Jack Owens, as Barry says, it's been an all-round team effort. Salford have won at Widnes. Leeds have beaten Huddersfield, I think, just about, although that was a later score we saw going through just before. And Huddersfield have caused Leeds a few problems in the recent past. Here's Tommy Lee. Big Alex Walmsley charges on. Great reward for a great display from the big man. Alex Walmsley on his 40th consecutive St Helens appearance. The top offloader, the most carries, the most metres forward in the first 5 rounds. And Alex Walmsley gets his second try of 2017, sends the St Helens supporters home happy, and makes it an even more convincing win than it was just seconds ago. 29-6, kicks to come.
But what Saints have managed to do is they've managed to make the most of their opportunities, whether that's a penalty the other way or a knock-on and scrum to St Helens. Very simple, but I'll tell you what, do your best to stop that big fella running at that pace. And Jack Hughes is a tremendous defender. He wraps his legs, knocks his knees together, and all 7'10" of him gets over the line and gets his try.
It's just good luck, isn't it? How do you stop someone when you're defending your try line? You can't get that line speed, which is what you'll need if you're going to be confronted with that huge man. And also, when you do hit him, you can't be a leg tackler when you're so close to the line, because all he's got to do is reach over from maybe 10 metres out and he'll still ground the ball.
Well, this hole that Warrington are digging for themselves in 2017 is getting deeper and deeper and deeper. This for a 31-6 scoreline as we enter the final minute of this match. You would never have believed it at the start of the year that Warrington would be played 6, lost 6 after the opening 6 rounds of the Betfred Super League campaign of 2017. But that is the harsh fact tonight, and they were not been good enough.
They haven't, no. It's live sport. There's no script written before the season starts. That's why it's so interesting that the people turn up, tune in to watch and follow the highs and lows of following your side. If you're a real supporter, you stick with them through thick and thin, and it's a test, I know, for the Warrington guys who've come here tonight to sing for the support. But they've seen some good times, and they've just got to hope sooner or later the club start to pick up themselves up out of this hole. It might be a long year.
It could be, as I say, it might be a long time between now and Easter, because after this they've got 2 home games to come, so they would hope for redemption in those. But when you look that Tony Smith's men will face Hull and Leeds in the next 2 home games before they go to Widnes, which is always a difficult match, and that's over Easter.
Anything can happen in derby games, but before that derby game there's 2 really tough games for them.
Then they've got Huddersfield as home in round 10, so who knows?
Eddie,
who knows?
I think they've been the second best team, but perhaps not by the points that are shown on the scoreboard. They've been closer than 31-6.
You think so?
I do.
I'm trying to think the try apart when they really threatened the St Helens line, but that is a debate for another time. 31-6. The coaches shake hands, and the agony goes on for Tony Smith. Kieran Cunningham has taken his men out of the bottom 3, I think, tonight. But Warrington Wolves are rooted at the foot of the table.
Well, there's a respect between those 2 fellas, isn't there? Kieran Cunningham and Tony Smith. And that man, Matty Smith, has had a dream second debut in Super League.
And we heard that Stephen Broomhead, the chairman, who is out there on the field now, waiting to bring his players off, the chairman, said that the board has full confidence in Tony Smith as coach, despite this, or there he is, Stephen Broomhead, despite this woeful start to the season. Tony Smith, to be fair to him, has got runs on the board.
Of course he has. And the players will take responsibility. It's those players who are going out there, they're the ones who are making mistakes. Tony's not saying to them before the game, go out there, offload the ball in impossible situations, make mistakes, miss tackles. Kurt Gidley's been around the block. There's so many good players. Kevin Brown, Stephen Ratchford, Ben Westwood, who's tonight was his 467th game at the top flight. You just look at the experience that they've got. I'll tell you, Eddie, those boys will be really hurting. They don't want to come out in front of the Sky cameras, in front of their fans, and come up with losses like they have done this year. But let's give credit to St Helens. St Helens were brilliant last week when they played against Caton, and they were brilliant tonight.
Yes, they played really well. They really did. And the team that has dominated Warrington in Super League for most of the last 20 years.